Good morning. All right. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. Thank you for your patience. I'm Reverend Susan Francis, the Assistant Minister for Congregational Life, and this morning I'm the Worship Associate for Reverend Derek Jackson, who is joining us online. So turn around, everybody, and wave to Reverend Derek. Hello. Reverend Derek will be joining us via recorded videos during our service today. You may remember him as a community minister at Second Unitarian, and he works for the UU Ministers Association and has moved to Boston. So he's not able to be with us today. He's in Boston. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering our community, it is good to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. If you are joining us online, there are links of connection under the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and how to join our email newsletter. If you are in the sanctuary, you are encouraged to use the QR code for the digital order of service. And I would say, or take a large print, but I was supposed to print it, and Reverend Eileen showed me how, and I could not figure it out. So there are no large print order of services today, and I apologize. But they will be, the order of service is listed also on the screen as we go through our service today. I invite you to notice the nest in front as our designated area for families with young children, where we have quiet toys and activities for a kid-friendly service. Please feel free to enjoy the nest. Our children attend faith formation halfway through the service, and today I will be letting you know when it's time to step out. We have an inductive loop system for anyone who's wearing a hearing aid equipped with a T-coil, and then we also have headphones available out in the lobby. And we have a few announcements. You are all here on a very fun technological practice day. So after the service today, we have a brand new mesh network that Adam's been working on, and he would like to determine if it can handle a large number of people trying to use it at the same time. So we're gonna ask you to help us crash our network after the service. So after the benediction, please stay in your seats, and we're going to do a little experiment. Also after today's service, please join the return of our UU the Vote campaign. Right? It's time already again. There is cake. Thank you, Shirley Adams. So after you get your cake, please get some postcards that we will be writing and sending to voters in Virginia. And now let us settle into our worship. Those joining us online are invited to gather your home chalice as we join in beloved community. Welcome to worship. Thank you, Gregory. The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on land that was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829, shortly before the Potawatomi in this area were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. We remember the minds and bodies of the Black people who built up our country's culture and economy, a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We are indebted to their labor and their resilience since 1619, acknowledging the tremors of violence throughout the generations and the resulting impact that we still witness today. These acknowledgements are one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to take what we learn here today, to incorporate it into our lives, and to turn our thoughts into actions. Please join in our words of shared commitment, printed on the screen. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Christine Peters and Forrest Marie Peters Linzell brought our chalice flowers in loving memory of David Linzell on the 5th anniversary of his death. As they light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in the reading Out of the Flames by Reverend Sara Eileen LaWall. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all that is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames, we rise. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before we sing our opening hymn, I invite those joining us online to greet each other in the chat, and those gathered here in the sanctuary to greet each other. Please stay after the service and continue your conversations. Please remain risen for our first hymn, 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. And Reverend Derek was very confident that we could sing all 6 verses. So we are going to sing all 6 verses.
Peace Good morning. How y'all doing? Despite the rain, beautiful day. Great to be here. All right, today's Time for All Ages is from a storybook called The Hugging Tree, a story about resilience that was written by Jill Niemark and illustrated by Nicole Wong. On a bleak and lonely rock by a vast and mighty sea grew a lonely tree where no one should ever be. How she got there, no one knew. She sprouted stems and little leaves, as tiny seed will do. There's hardly any dirt for me, no forest breeze, no birds, no bees, but I will do my best I can to make this rock my home. Her tiny roots pushed night and day, and bit by bit the rock gave way. A smidge, an inch, a foot, then two. She grew and grew and grew. The ocean hugged the rocky shore. I'd like you near me, little tree. Let's keep each other company. Soft gold sunbeams kissed her crown, warm as honey pouring down. At night, she raised her branches high to greet the moon up in the sky. I wax and wane, I ebb and flow. I cycle through from full to thin. And when I'm done, I start again. That's how life is, you know. One summer noon, a pair of loons landed on her canopy. A pretty tree, a sparkling sea. Shall we make this place our home and raise our baby chicks right here? The little tree warmed up with pride. She spread her branches high and wide. I'll be your home, she replied. And you can tell me if you've seen the forest where my family grew. We've built our nest in trees like you, quite far from here. And so you blew many nights and many days. You flew on wind, just like we do. They built their nest, they laid their eggs, and soon 2 baby chicks were born. Summer passed, autumn too. The little tree turned gold and red. The winter came with howling winds and cutting cold that broke her boughs. The loons flew south, the sea all ice, the rock all snow. The moon was lost in thunderclouds. Mighty cliff, hold me tight, don't let me blow away. Little tree, with all my might, I'll hold you close night and day. Storms will come and storms will go. At last the sun melted the snow, but now the tree could not grow. The storm had torn her roots. The moon gazed down and softly said, sometimes we lose our way, but with some help we start again. That's how life is, you know. And soon a boy came running by, skipping stones into the sea. When he saw the little tree, he stopped and stared. He touched the tiny leaves. He felt the ragged roots. He shook his head and said, I can bring just what you need. I can help you, little tree. Now, a tree can't hug a boy. It has no arms and hands, but it can hug you with its heart, and that is just as deep and warm. Every day, the boy came back carrying a full backpack. And from the pack, he took a tin and poured out rich brown earth. He packed the roots and tucked them in. He planted flowers round the tree and made a path for all to see. Now everyone will know that even on a granite cliff, a little tree can grow. And then when he went to sleep and dreamed the things that boys dream of. Now every day, new people stop to rest beneath the tree and dream of things we all dream of. To love, to share, to give, to dare, to grow just where we are. And to this very day they come. For on a splendid sunny rock by a warm and bright blue sea, a great big hugging tree grows just where it was meant to be. The end.
I invite us to settle into a time of quiet reflection as we share our joys and sorrows as part of the practice of beloved community. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like spoken aloud on Sunday morning, you may write it in the Joys and Sorrows book that lives on the table just inside the sanctuary lobby doors, or you may email Reverend Eileen or myself, or there's a form on the homepage. There's a little yellow button that says Joys and Sorrows. We listen to these tender offerings with tenderness and respect. These are our joys and sorrows that have been shared before our service today. From Joe Romeo, my brother Ed Romeo died Tuesday following a heart attack. He was a talented and spiritual nature photographer sharing pictures every morning with 5,000 Facebook followers. A service which honors Native American traditions will be arranged to take place in Kensington Park, Michigan, where he took a great many pictures. And Carla Williams and Cheryl Mounts share holding Joe Romeo in our hearts. He lost his brother Ed last week. From Meredith Hayden, in loving memory of my beloved husband, Chris Isley, who died 8 years ago today of cancer. He loved this church and gave generously of his gifts of wisdom, wit, and leadership. The Cancer Support Group has met every Sunday since 2015. We honor his legacy and his memory. And my sorrow is that my dear cousin Joe died Friday, less than 2 months after a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. From Mary Dudek. On this 78th commemoration of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I hold up the message on the UCE Peace Pole. May peace prevail on earth. From Carol Young, her sister received a tracheotomy last week and her life is less threatened now. She's more alert too, which is good. We're keeping Carol, who's at home with a cold today, and her family in our thoughts. From Shirley Adams, the carrot cake from Benison's that you will find during kinship time today is Shirley's way of celebrating her 77th birthday, which is today. Happy birthday, Shirley. Shirley shares it is also a way to celebrate all the Leos in the UCE community and the launch of our UU the Vote postcard campaign to Virginia. And Carolyn Laughlin writes, so grateful for Greg Grabowski's commitment to our UU values and protecting our democracy. Thank you for taking the lead on UU the Vote work. And back to Shirley, an anonymous note with love and gratitude to Shirley Adams on her birthday. You are a joy. And one more joy from Kathy Underwood, celebrating 4 years with UCE this week. She writes, I appreciate the support and energy of everyone here. Happy anniversary, Kathy. With all of this on our hearts and minds today, I invite you, if you have something else that you are holding, to come forward to light a candle. If you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand and Kathy will bring you a candle. I invite you to come forward. Please join in saying our communal words. For these joys we give our thanks, and for these sorrows we give our love. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation as I share with you the prayer for moving forward by Reverend Joe Von Rue. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and yet none at all, our hearts are stretched thin, thin with grief, thin with care for the world. We see and hear the devaluing of people of color, of those with disabilities, of women, of immigrants. This list, incomplete as it is exhausting. And yet, we hold fast because we carry hope in our hearts. Hope that together we can comfort each other. Hope that together we can continue to build a beloved community. Hope that together we can dismantle systems of oppression. Hope that the collective of American humanity will look at one another and say, things have got to change. However thin our resilience may be wearing, we do not give up or give in. We look around and see our friends and neighbors moving, marching together, caring for each other, because we must not give up. We move for justice. We live for compassion. We will not rest until we are heard. We will not rest until equity is made more real all around us. And Spirit of life, we look within our own hearts to the burning coal that is the center of our being, the place where our hope for each other and the world lives and grows, the place where our faith in humanity resides, and there we find the strength and the courage to continue moving forward, however muddy and rough the path may be. Blessed be. As we sing our response, our young people are invited to head with their faith formation leaders to their time of faith formation. We'll sing the first two verses of Comfort Me. As we say in our covenant each week, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission and values and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with Interfaith Action of Evanston. And we have a video this morning to learn more about this organization. And our congregation has a very long relationship with Interfaith Action, and after the service today, UCE members Tony Ray and Mary Beth Roth will be available at one of the kinship program tables to answer any questions that you have about Interfaith Action. So Adam, go ahead.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Interfaith Action of Evanston brings together communities of faith and spirit to help people who are hungry and homeless. Our morning hospitality center at St. Mark's provides breakfast and a safe place for those needing to use a phone or a computer, or simply a place to sleep and relax. During the winter months, Interfaith Action offers an afternoon warming center so people can escape from the cold, as well as an emergency overnight shelter providing a warm, safe place to sleep. Interfaith Action also coordinates services offered at other locations all year long, like daily soup kitchens.
Okay, thank you.
And in partnership with the Greater Chicago Food Depository and the City of Evanston, we provide free fruit and vegetables at our monthly produce mobile.
One more box, hold on.
Interfaith Action is entirely dependent on the generosity of our donors and our volunteers. We hope you will join our team.
You may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please put in the memo line that it's for the shared offering. The ushers will now come forward and pass the collection bowls down the rows. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you all for your generosity. We are going to have a reading on the video by Reverend Derek, and then Gregory will play our anthem, and then we'll have our sermon on the video from Reverend Derek. And so I'm going to come down and sit with you, and I'll come back up for our extinguishing of the chalice.
Fabulous. I don't look like Radia. Stop. Our reading this morning is Stop Telling Me I'm Resilient. Why It's Harmful, Not Helpful, by Radia Shabazz. I don't look like what I've been through. This old adage is thrown around often as an expression of gratitude for overcoming life's toughest trials and tribulations and managing to look fabulous at the same time. The cliche, though, doesn't account for the internal toll going through it can take, or what effects consistent subjection to stressful experiences can have on mental health and well-being. What many people don't realize is that these constant struggles and never-ending battles have left me exhausted. I feel the fight in me depleting as my emotions range from loneliness, anger, frustration, guilt, fear, and unsupportiveness to just plain old tired, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And as I feel these sentiments and come to terms with the notion that I, too, have a breaking point, I want to be able to experience and honor all of them without repetitions of how resilient and strong I am in the midst. These reminders from family and friends I know are well-meaning and meant to emphasize my proven survivability, but they aren't helpful at all. In fact, responding to my pain with an acknowledgement of my resilience is actually quite harmful. Resilience is portrayed as a positive and desirable character trait because it is indicative of strength, commitment, and perseverance through the most dire of circumstances. Surviving such conditions seemingly unscathed equates to resilience. Therefore, those who do not survive can be labeled as non-resilient. But such a simplification serves as both a minimalization and normalization of traumatic, chronically stressful experiences. We should not be celebrating it. We should, however, ask ourselves at what cost resilience comes. For far too many, the payments we make to maintain our strength and a grasp on resilience come in the form of various mental and physical ailments. So we must be mindful of and think more critically about the effects of reveling in resilience so that we may gain deeper understanding of how damaging it can actually be. When my emotional responses to my struggles are policed through reinforcement of my resilience, the message I receive is that it is unacceptable for me to be weak. I cannot feel tired, drained, or like I want to give up. And it's not okay. The burden that is required to carry on such unrealistic expectations of strength isn't one I want to be subjected to any longer. Reminders of my strength or of how much I've already survived and accomplished despite my circumstances don't in any way glorify the struggle. But they do set in motion an agonizing cycle of delegitimizing painful experiences for the sake of maintaining a discourse around resilience that preserves society's status quo. My friends, I am tired of being resilient. I'm tired of being strong, enduring hardship, succeeding against the odds, accomplishing in spite of. I just want to be human. To, as Mary Oliver says, let the soft animal of my body love what it loves. We keep getting these messages about resilience. We see it in the stories we read in the paper or in the news or on Facebook or other social media. These special interest stories that implies that you should be strong in the midst of difficulty. All these stories about this person who conquered everything to uh, make it this far, and we are supposed to be inspired by them, and in some ways feel bad about how we are not meeting up to their standards, and their life is worse than ours is. So maybe we just need to let resilience go. What is resilience? The American Psychological Association describes resilience as the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or changing life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. So what all those words mean is that resilience is being able to switch and change and adjust to things that happen in life, to be flexible to both what's happening with inside of us and also things that are happening to us. And in some ways that makes sense. That we do need to be resilient. We need to be able to be nimble and engage the world that happens, all the things that happen to us in the world, because the world is not easy. Life is not easy. And things that we would never expect happen. And we do have to be able to adjust when those things occur and find ways to navigate. But it is not as hopeful all the time. As Radia Shabazz says in the reading, resilience is portrayed as a positive and desirable character trait because it is indicative of strength, commitment, and perseverance through the most dire of circumstances. Surviving such conditions seemingly unscathed equates to resilience. We should, however, ask ourselves at what cost resilience comes. For our community, the payments we make to maintain our strength and a grasp on resilience come in the form of various mental and physical health ailments. Being resilient might help us get through the moment, but we are not made to be resilient over the long term. And when we are, it results in effects that are detrimental to our health. We begin to feel the exhaustion of having to keep struggling day after day after day. We risk depression. We risk our own bodies feeling the weight and health complications, heart disease, lung disease, all these things, sicknesses happen, migraines. Many of these happen because of the undue stress we are under over an extended amount of time. And all the things that we talk about our health, and they say, oh, are you under stress? If we think about resilience, resilience requires us to be constantly under stress. And that's not helpful. And it's not healthy. The therapist, Dolores Fallon, says that resilience is a leftover from slavery. It's a leftover from colonization. It's a leftover from indentured servitude. It's a leftover from oppression that's been systemic. And so the people who oppressed us, refer to us as strong because they were talking about us as animals. And so when you talk about people as if they're animals, as if they are subhuman, then you are only commenting on their physical capacity, which then becomes something that's morphed into resilience. But that's not about resilience. What Lourdes is saying here is that resilience, the way that resilience has become part of our nomenclature, is because it comes out of centuries of oppression. And it was a way to make people less than, and then value the particular traits that we wanted to cultivate in these groups of people. Because you want, if you are going to oppress someone, if you are going to have someone subservient to you, you want them to be able to maintain constant pressure. You want them to be able to withstand the oppression that you are putting on them so that they can do the work that you are trying to have them do. And so it makes sense that what they wanted to do was cultivate, and we'll particularly move into the idea of slavery, is that they wanted slaves who were resilient, who would be able to work in the face of difficult conditions. That was important to maintain the industry of slavery. And it maintains the industries of oppression, whether it's indentured servitude or how, in the effects of colonization, that those who can withstand the pressure and can continue to be quote unquote productive are lifted up as ideals. And so that is where resilience comes from. We also have to think about resilience as something that is individual. When we talk about resilience, we're often talk about people, individual people, and what they as individuals do to survive. It's very individual focused and not about community and how communities can support a person navigating difficult things. And so when you cultivate that individualism and that I have to go it alone, then that builds in that continues that line of the worker that you are trying to make be productive within difficult circumstances because they as individuals have to do that work. They don't need others to support them. They have to do it alone. Given that we have this new understanding of resilience, what should we do? How do we let go of resilience? Well, first, we need to be open and honest that things are not okay. Be willing to cry, get angry, release the feelings instead of hiding them behind a veneer of civility. Releasing resilience means that we also need to release our emotions, allow them to be real and raw, and experience them fully so that we can move our way through the resilience instead of holding them in and allowing them to fester and burn within us, but to be released and washed away so that we can name and acknowledge what is going on with us, within us. And maybe that can help us move to a place of doing something about those feelings or the situations that are putting us in that place. We also need to move from an I perspective to a we perspective. You don't need to go it alone. In fact, it's not better to go it alone. We need to draw on the community for support. And so we need to let go of this idea of being resilient as something that we need to shoulder all of our burdens by ourselves. Instead, we need to draw on our community, our people to support us, to help us carry the load that we are doing, to navigate whatever is difficult, to know that we do not have to suffer by ourselves. And it also asks us to be willing to offer support as a community to those who are struggling, to help make sure that they know they are not alone, that there are others who can help them carry the burden, to navigate this difficult path that they are on, that they do not have to do it. And most importantly, instead of focusing on resilience, we should focus on what changes that need to be made in our culture and our institutions and work towards those changes. We can get so stuck in, I need to be resilient, I need to navigate these things that are happening to us, but those things should not be happening to us. And so why don't we work and put our energy to the problems themselves and getting rid of the systems that are creating those places of pressure and that are allowing us and forcing us to be oppressed. We need to move our way into justice and action instead of trying to navigate our own, just survive. We should not be living lives we are just trying to survive. We deserve to thrive. And if the systems are not allowing us to thrive, then we need to reevaluate those systems. And even though there are moments where we have to be resilient, we do need to adjust to things that happen to us. We are not meant to be resilient all the time. Resilience is supposed to be for those moments where something happens that we just need to get through, and then we get and return to a normal cycle. Our lives should not be one resilient moment after another. It is not healthy. It is not the way that I believe that we are meant to live. The filmmaker Don Deshae Brown writes, "I dream of never being called resilient again in my life. I'm exhausted by strength. I want support. I want softness. I want ease. I want to be amongst kin, not patted on the back for how well I take a hit or for how many. Instead of hearing, 'You are one of the most resilient people I know,' I want to hear, 'You are so loved. You are so cared for. You are genuinely covered.' My friend, may we be so loved and cared for, and may we offer that love and care to others. Blessed be.
As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere, and then afterwards be seated, and Reverend Derek has a benediction for us.
I'm gonna keep
May we release resilience. May we be honest with ourselves and others about our pain, frustration, and suffering. May we offer love and care to our community, and may we receive love and care from our community. And may we transform the world into one where all are fully living, not just surviving. Blessed be.
And pull out your phones. The folks online, have a lovely week. And as soon as Adam gives me the thumbs up, if you know how to get onto UCE Guest, do. Adam, do they have to be on UCE Guest to make it crash, or can they just be trying to use the network? Okay. So if you know how to get on UCE Guest for your Wi-Fi, the password's the phone number, and if you don't know the phone number, Adam, is the live stream off?